Hello there, and welcome to my little arty corner here on YouTube. I'm Angela Porter. I love to draw and I love to encourage and help others to find their creativity, to draw and to enjoy drawing just for the sake of it. So you're most welcome here, and I appreciate everybody who joins me, who's subscribed to the channel, has left me lovely comments, and yes, I know I've got some to reply to. It's a long story, but injury means that I don't spend as much time at the computer as I used to until I've healed properly. But today I'm here. So, what I've got here is a piece of black paper. It's from a Daler-Rowney sketchbook, so it's an ebony. They're called ebony, and the weight of the paper is 180 GSM or 122 pounds. It's acid free, and you can use ink and dry media on it. It's not meant for watercolour, but I thought it would be quite fun to draw with some metallic pens, and so I've got a selection of them here, and I'm trying to decide what I'm going to use, because I can be a bit of a ditherer when it comes to such things. I've got a pile of Jelly Roll Stardusts here, which I really like, and I'm looking for something. Ooh, I've got a red one. I'm looking for the gold one, but oh, there it is. I think that's about as close as you get to gold. No, there is a golden one, more golden one, but I don't know where it is. But the orange one will do. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by drawing. And hopefully this will behave itself, because I haven't used these for a while and they can be a bit finickety. And of course, there we go, we've got it working. That'll work quite nicely. So I'm just drawing a square. I could be precise if I wanted to and put pencil lines in with a ruler, but this is just really more a guide. Well, it isn't. It's actually a border. Like with all Jelly Roll pens, with these, the lighter the touch you use, the more the ink flows. The paper I'm drawing on does have a texture to it, which can make it a little bit more difficult to get a nice line. But it is what the paper is, and I'm going to work with that for sure. Now these pens, whether they're wet or dry, you can always add water to them. Very slightly damp brush and spread them out a bit like paint, not pain. Please be aware that they will remain damp for a while. And then what I'm going to do is, in the centre of this, I'm going to draw a star. And I'm going to fill it in with the same glittery gorgeousness. I love these Stardust pens. The glitter in them is very fine, and they're really, really lovely. Though I do like the Signo ones as well, the Signo metallic or no, glitter pens, which I do have some lurking here somewhere in my stash. Somewhere. These were on hand. So all I'm doing now is I'm just tidying up the edges of the star and the points, so I get something that's a bit more even. God blimey, the light's catching that on the camera. It's the first time I'm looking at the camera. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop an aura around this. I'm going to try and keep it the same size or same shape as the star, but I don't think that's going to be possible because I'm such a klutz at doing things like this. But in the end, it's not going to matter too much. So I hope you can see that. Perhaps if I turn the overhead light off, does that help? Nope, doesn't. Yeah, we're going to have to cope with the sparkle, but it's fine. So what I want to do here is from the side of these stars, I'm going to go off. Now I'm going to create a spiral inside, but I've traced along this and then towards the edge of the paper. I did actually want it to touch the border, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't. So I've got this kind of spiral here. And then what I want to do is I'm going to come back with an aura and I'm just going to let it connect here to the star, like this. Turn it around, I'm going to go to this next line. And again, I'm going to create a spiral here. And again, I'm going to draw that line back down. So it looks almost like they're going to overlap or we're going to have some weaving going on. I don't think so. Here, this is an interesting one because this line will connect with this one. So let's use this one as the place for us to go out towards the edge like this. And to bring this back. And now we don't want to stop at this point on here. We want to take it down to this edge, like so. So just bend it around in a natural curve so it looks like it belongs, like it goes that way. And so the next spiral we draw will be off this line. I think you're beginning to get the idea. They don't all have to go out to the very edge. You choose how big you want to make them because these aren't the only things we're going to add to this. I do love a bit of glitter. And this one I will bring this one out here. I'm so glad I found that the black sketchbook with black paper in. I was looking everywhere for a journal I've got that's got black paper in. It's a Sakura one. Do you think I can find it? Since I've not been, I tell you, I seriously have got problems with what I've done with things while I've been recovering from my injuries, especially when I've been having to take fairly strong painkillers. I've got no idea where I've put things, to the point that even the drawing I did a couple of days ago, or the first sort of like long video that I made, wasn't the last one, I think it was the one before. I can't find it. I've put it somewhere and I've got no idea where I've put it. I really can be a complete and total, well, I don't know, but it'll turn up eventually. I will work out what 3 and is it 3 1/4 or 3 3/4 inches these are. I think they're 3 3/4 inches. I'll work out what that is in centimetres. Just going to carry on doing this. I'm making no effort here to make the spirals the same size in any way, shape or form. Nearly done. Goes there. And then our last one will go like so. And I've made a bit of a muck up here, I think, but it'll be fine, I think. It is what it is. And perhaps I'll be able to do something like that with all the others. We'll see now. So this is my basic kind of shape. Now I've got choices to make because some of those changes could be, or some of those decisions could be to add more spirals or to fill these sections in a different way. But I think for now, I think I'd like to add some more spirals simply because I just love spirals. And to add some with lovely wavy lines here. So we have one there. And that effectively, if I wanted to, splits these up into those smaller areas. I do think I'd like one goes towards the corner. I'm aiming for the corner, but if I don't hit the corner, I don't really worry too much about it. And here, perhaps. There. So you'll have to let me know, and I will leave a comment in the descriptions box as I give this a moment to dry and give me a chance to think about what I'm going to do next. Because I'm using a microphone here that's new. It arrived yesterday, and I'm going to try and set it up, so you'll have to let me know whether it's working out okay and so on. I'll listen to it, I'll check it and so on. But it's not one I clip onto me, it's one that's on my desk, and hopefully where I've put it, which is far enough back that I'm not going to knock it, bash it, bang it, knock it over, is going to be okay. But working out how it works and everything, it doesn't matter what the instruction booklet says with it, it doesn't compute in my head. I have to do things and try things out. Okay, so all fun. And I'm going to just look at this where I've got some awkward spaces here, or awkward regions, like here is a little bit awkward. I think I could fill this in with some more spirals. And where I've got these little gaps, I am going to fill them in with, I think, with the glittery goodness. And I'll use my discretion, because if I put too much in, it'll look a bit odd. Like that one I could have left perhaps open, but it'll be all right. So I've got a lovely collection of spirally shapes here. And I think I'll do the same here, because two on their own always looks a little bit odd to my mind. I've spoken about this before, about how I try to do things in odd numbers because it always looks more pleasing to me. And there is some reason why the brain, and I can't remember what it is now, but apparently our brain likes groups of things in odd numbers, obviously odd numbers. I mean, the more you've got, if you've got 100 tulips planted together or 101, your mind's not going to really count each and every one and go, oh, that's an odd number, I like those, or oh no, that's an even number, not so nice. But with small numbers of things, I think it does make a bit of a difference. Well, it does, because I'm going to insist on putting one in here to make that a nice odd number. One on its own is looking a bit odd, so that will need some frilliness put with it, shall we say. And even to the point where I am going back down there. And just one in there, perhaps that third one will just sit nicely there. That works. So it is just me going back and just adjusting these so they are pleasing to me and my senses more than anything else. So I've got this, they almost look like I don't know, puffy, bits of trees or whatever. That doesn't sound right. My brain is not functioning properly today. I've had a couple of tough days emotionally, to be honest. Lots of stuff going on, lots of things breaking and needing to replaced, and I, like many others, don't find this time of year an easy one for many reasons. And particularly around the holiday season, as you call it in America, Christmas, as we'd say over here perhaps, Christmas, New Year. It's not really an easy time for me. And I'm not going to get into why, but it just isn't. And I do get myself into a right dither at times, and it doesn't take much to set me off. So the last couple of days have been awkward for me in many ways. I'm feeling a lot better today. Perhaps I've got all the tears out I need to get out, or that it's just the lull before another storm, I don't know. I slept well last night, which helps so much. And all my muscles are getting so much better. I'm able to work more and more at my desk. And I know I've got to start work on the book very soon. But again, I need to be in the right place emotionally to ink the whimsical houses in. Because if I get frustrated with myself or upset, I'll make a mess of it. So I've got this star, which has got lots of things swirling off. And I think I am going to start to fill these in, perhaps. So I'm so tempted just to fill it all in with spirals because they're so pretty. I've got all of these awkward looking spaces now. You may say they're not awkward looking, but if you're drawing along with me, feel free to, if you like it as it is, leave it like that. If you want to do something different, feel free. Trust your instincts on your art. As I'm trying to figure out what my instincts are telling me. My instincts are sort of telling me that I could do with a few more spirals in to these spaces, just to make them that little smaller, a little bit smaller. I'm going to try to continue weaving the bottom ends, or making the bottom ends look like they're weaving. I think I want one up here first though, because that was a really awkward kind of connection there. I just find spirals so useful and so versatile. And I think I've said this often, but I really love spirals. They appear so often in what I do, and always have done. And I think it's something that humanity loves. They appear in some of the earliest, prehistoric art and decoration. Winter solstice has just gone, and at the barrow, is it the long barrow at Newgrange? Is it Newgrange in Northern Ireland? And the winter solstice shines through a window in the closed door and lights the inside. There's all kinds of spiral patterns there. You look at, medieval manuscripts and old illuminated manuscripts and art from all over the world from prehistoric times. Cave art, spirals, pottery, prehistoric pottery. Spirals are seen everywhere. And I'm sure there's a symbolic meaning to them that, appeal to both our ancestors. We often talk about the spiral of life and the circle of life, but also how life spirals. But yeah, it looks like I'm filling in the whole space with spirals. So I'm just looking where I can have them growing. out and filling a space. Do want to leave some little spaces though, because I think I might want to add a little, I don't know, I'll have to think about this whether I want to add any more, a different colour in. So that's possible to do. Okay, so let's have a look here. And said that, there's loads of little gaps in between. Oh, yeah, that would be nice just there. Okay, yeah, this. I think I will have one as if it's growing from behind that one. There's another one here. I think I might need one there. Getting very ornate, very fancy. Fancy schmancy. And there's nothing wrong with that at all as far as I'm concerned. I'm just going in and filling all the gaps up. So there was me saying, oh, I'd like to leave some gaps. But there are gaps between all of these, one way or another. What would I do with this? Well, I think this could end up on a card blank as a greetings card. I don't send many. As people who know me, I prefer to donate the money to charity rather than send greeting cards willy-nilly. And it's better for the environment, but there are some that I do make to send to people. And this could be one of them. And I think I'll just start to fill in these little places around the edge where it looks a little awkward with just some little orbs. Because they fit any space really nicely, don't they? Like there. We end up with things looking very like filigree, I suppose, very lacy. And even though this isn't a gold pen, I quite like it being this lovely orangey colour. Golden enough. And I'm not going to add any shading because there is absolutely 0 point. It's going to be pure pen on a black background. Like part of the universe has landed on my paper. Well, a very strange part of the universe that most probably doesn't even exist like this, but isn't it lovely to think so? Just looking for any gaps that I can just pop this into quickly. If I miss any, I'll come back later, no doubt. I don't have a card blank to hand to put this on. I may end up having to make one because I'm bound to have cards around here that I can turn into cards, blanks, or blank card to mount this on. Might even have some metallic cards somewhere. Could be a pain. There we are. There's my gold star design. Well, that's taken me less than half an hour to draw. And I was thinking about adding colour pattern, you know, some dots of different colour, but I really like it just monotone, one colour. So let's try something different. Now, I don't quite know how this one's going to turn out because I'm going to pick I am going to pick a different design. Ooh, which colour? Do I go with the light bright pink or shall I go with the darker? I think I'll go with the darker one. Again, it's a stardust, but you can see it's quite a nice one there that's really vibrant, you know, sort of like really light pink. Check. Yeah, they are different colours, but this one, hopefully, it will still show up. So let's have a look. I always forget how lovely it is to draw with glitter or metallic pens on black paper. I really do. That's lovely. I think I might. Got a little bit of this paper here. Just see how violently pink that is and get that one working. That one actually isn't too bad. There's the other one for comparison, so it is a lot brighter. But I think it's a bit glob, not flowing all that easy. What I think I might do is use this one to, I was going to say, oh, I'm going to do it diagonally, but I'm not. I'm going to use this to draw and colour in a heart. Because what we can do with a star, we can do with any other kind of shape we wish. I'm just going to start this one off because my head is going to another idea or how you could do something similar with this, so bear with me a moment. So, what I may do with this heart, because it is not very easy to get a very smooth and even coverage of the pen, I may use a damp brush when I've got a damp brush available, because I haven't, just to smooth that out a little bit once it's dried. It's very pink, very shiny. Then I'm going to use this to aura outside. You know what? I think I might see if I can. I can draw inside it. So I've got an aura inside and an aura outside. That's worked quite nicely. In fact, I may just fill this like so and create a darker pink heart inside. So that lighter pink looks like a little glow around it. So let's be honest, we all need that bit of love. And the whole world could do with a lot of love at the moment, I think. But then I'm a dreamer, you know, and I ain't going to change. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put another aura in, because as they say in Zentangle, auras are your friend. This is something that I've always done. I'm just borrowing their term because it's a nice way to describe it. So I've got space between the heart and the outside, and then I can start to do the same kind of idea. That's a really big one going on there. And I am going to just pop the stem in like that. And then I can choose to go up here. And perhaps a baby one. Who says they all have to be giants? The same size. Variety is what makes it all interesting in my humble opinion. It also means that you don't have to be perfect. You just do things as they, accept them just as they happen. And that's really quite nice. I think I want to start going in the opposite direction here. I'm trying not to think about what I'm doing. I'm just doing this. I'm just trusting that at the end of it, just by using the same kind of shapes, I'll end up with something that is quite lovely, and no two of these will ever be exactly the same. And they'll look different depending on where you put the heart in the centre of the paper, how big or how small you draw it. I mean, my heart's not exactly huge there, but it could be bigger, it could be smaller. I could have put a group of hearts in the middle, which could always be a lot of fun. So a little heart would be lovely, because I don't keep hearts just, well, I don't do Valentine's Day, but we have a very different view on Valentine's Day here in the United Kingdom. But you can see I'm going to end up with something that's very similar to the star. So I'm going to pop that one to one side, and then pop those to one side. I'm going to get a green out. I think, yeah, we've got two distinct different greens here. So again, I'm just going to use my little scrap of paper I dug out just to make sure I can get this working and just clean any dried ink off. I don't know how many years I've had these and I've barely used them. So I'm well impressed that they still work. Part of the trick is storing them horizontally. So this is the darker green, I think. And so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to draw loosely a border around the card, around the edge. I can always go back and double up on this border. I think I might do that with the star one and the heart. And even put a pattern in that little double border maybe. It's a bit of a wonky shape, but that's fine. I can live with wonk. And then, oh, yeah, let's go for the red one. Get that working. And then close to the middle, I'm going to put four circles. Actually, I might put, we won't nicely spaced out, but this will do. So a collection of lovely red berries. Okay, so with my green, that's the bluey green, I want the greeny green. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw, this one doesn't want to work, please work, thank you. The centre line. If it doesn't meet up, we can always extend it. So I'm drawing some holly leaves here, and I will do one from each stem. I don't know if you can see, if I move this up, perhaps you can. A bit better. I have a habit of pulling things really close to me. And essentially each side is a strange shaped M, a bit like, you know, bat wing, I suppose. You can either do it with an M as we'd see it, it looks like an M there, or we can add some extra bits as if it had, you know, oops, I've done too many little bits on it. We can just do all of these around. And I sort of get used to doing these. And again, they don't have to be perfect. And they can overlap or not. In this case, they're all like this. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to go back, and on one side, same side all the way round, I'm going to put straight lines in, all close together, so we're adding some colour into them. I'm not going to spend hours trying to colour this in and wasting my glorious ink, though if that's what you would like to do, feel free. I could, of course, come back and use ink and a damp brush to fill them that way, which is always a possibility, and you can blend the colours as well. That's what you want to do. And then on the other side, I'm going to see what happens if I use the other colour, and hopefully they'll end up looking a bit different. Oh yes, they will. Just a bit. And then that just adds all of that green there. I'm not being precise with the distance between them, or whether they match up with the ones on the other side. Some will, some won't. I'm not being precious about it, because really there's no point in being precious about it. None whatsoever. And there we are, we've got them all done. So I've got that in the middle. Aura is our friend, but also, that's not red, that's the red one. Also is the ability to perhaps add things in. Now then, do I want to do green or a goldeny colour or red as the spirals? I think I might use, where on earth is the yellowy one for that? I don't know. The orangey one will do, I think. And what I'm going to do here is I could aura all the way around this, but I think I'm just going to have, perhaps instead of spirals, some ribbony kinds of things going on here, perhaps where they overlap, like this. Then perhaps I can go back to this one and add some that go, oh, I was going to do the other one. Sometimes I can be a bit dim. Go back here, just have those overlapping, like so. So we're getting some interesting weaving patterns going on. There's one way of doing this, but of course we'll start to get to the point where we can't go through here, or just that little bit perhaps. So we'll start to have patterns that perhaps, instead of overlapping, begin to twist and turn, like so. And then perhaps this one comes back this way. And although it could sort of go over there, I'm not going to make it. So, and then perhaps we're beginning to need to move or spread this bit out, so just start having lines flowing from that, and then we can go back and leave a gap. So when I get up to the point of this leaf, yeah, I think I'm going to more or less stop, perhaps, yeah, we'll go with one more, and then I'll start having these perhaps growing from that underneath that leaf, and then perhaps some coming round this way. There's a gap that's a bit big, you can always fit an extra line in of some kind. We're getting to a corner here, so I could have done here what I did over here, but I haven't. Perhaps I can start going from the corner here and just draw these lines, they meet. So I'm using this kind of, one of these flowy kinds of patterns that I've used in previous videos. I'll try and remember to link them, but they are just called flowy patterns, just to create an interesting texture. Like so. And they don't always have to start from the leaf. I've got a little dip here that I think I'd like to start to put some from. Perhaps have this kind of pattern emerging. And perhaps with in there. And then I can just go back and start having lines coming from the leaf. These are the kinds of patterns where the basic idea is there, but you can never quite know exactly what's going to happen with them, because it's always a bit of an experiment as you go along. And it's just, again, it's just trusting your instincts as to what will happen. It's a bit like patterns like DeviantArt, well, most zentangle patterns really. Or any kind of abstract textural patterns. You can be very organised and very particular about how you create the pattern, but you can also just be very fluid with it as well. And I don't just mean fluid in terms of the lines you draw, but fluid in your perspective or your creativity towards it and how you use them or work with them. So I really do find that one of the most pleasing things. And sometimes you end up with something you think, how on earth did I get to something like that? And you can never replicate it. You learn the process of creating a pattern like this, of trusting that instinct, of trusting the sense of where the lines need to go, how you can join them together, or where you start a line coming from. But you can never ever replicate exactly what you've just done. It just doesn't work out that way. I also enjoy the unexpected result at the end. And there's a lesson to be learned here. And that is, even if you don't think something is going to work out, or especially if you think something's not going to work out, just keep working at it and see what happens. It's with every kind of pattern or design. You get to a point where you think, what on earth am I doing? This is just awful. Which is why I don't like to work really with any preconceived ideas, other than a general idea, what I need to draw or want to draw. So, I might have an idea for, say, drawing a whimsical lighthouse. And I've got an idea that I might want sea, a ship, perhaps some balloons, clouds, cliffs maybe, other houses, something like that. But I try not to think about what I want it to look like at the end, because I know I'll be trying to force myself to do something that perhaps I don't really want to do in terms of drawings I want to create. So I just prefer to draw it, see what happens, and change it if I need to at the end. And often I'm very pleasantly surprised with what's come out of my pencil when it's a sketch, and find that a fascinating kind of thing to do. Now that I'm beginning to wonder whether I need to fill some of these things in here with lines, and I may just put some in just to make it feel that they actually do extend behind these, but it's more got that feeling of closing the space where these lines exist, as it were, as if they have come to a natural ending rather than just being hidden behind the leaves. So that'll work. This one here is a bit awkward, so I'll just add some there, and this one perhaps just a little bit like that. There. Really is just working round until you're happy with what results, and I think that one is actually more or less fine, I think, now. I've got not unpleasant black shapes there. You can see the berries and so on. And I think on these berries I'm going to put a dot of this orangey colour towards the edge, because it will show up just very slightly. And of course, naturally, on the camera here, because it's very reflective, it's picking up all the brightness and sparkle, it may not be so easy to see those patterns. Okay, but I hope it's given you an idea of what you could do. So let me pop that to one side. I'm going to do a fourth one. Isn't this great? And I've got a blue. Shall I use blue? I have a purple, but the purple's quite dark. I think that's a clear star, so that's colourless. I've got a darker blue. I've got this lighter blue. I've got, this is a Signo, the Uniball Signo, and I'm going to do this in, right, this is what I'm going to do. I've got this light blue one here. I've just been cleaning the ball, and I say nib, but it's not really a nib, but the ball and the tip of the pen off, getting it working. I'm really surprised how easily these are all working. Oops, something felt wet on my hand then, so I might have touched some of this before it's dried. So I've got this lovely blue going on here. Hopefully you can see it's a blue. You can see the colour in the pen. It's darker on the paper because it's I've got the black showing through. I think in the middle what I'm going to do is perhaps a different kind of star. Have a look. So I'm going to draw a star. Well, to draw this star, I'm creating a cross and trying to make the ends about the same size, and then I'm going to draw a smaller cross on the diagonal like this, and then perhaps a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to create like a V shape. They look almost like the Star Trek communicator badges. Ooh, right. Yeah, these look now like ivy leaves. I'm thinking, ooh, can I actually create ivy leaves on the others? Oh yes. Like that we can. Just by leaving that little gap in between, hopefully. So easy to see where the gaps are in the ink. It's a little bit on the streaky side, but it'll be fine. That'll be alright. I haven't got a gap here. I've just gone and drawn all over it, but that looks, it's an interesting pattern or design. It does look a bit star-like. So, especially on this bit, but it'll be fine. And with this, I think I will use this gold. Just to aura it a little bit. And just pick out shapes a little bit, I think. It's an interesting shape, and it's not very central, but I'm not too worried because it doesn't really matter. I just need to decide which way up I want this. I think it's going to end up being this way up. So then I'm going to put some blue around it. I'm getting a lot of ink coming out of this at the moment. Well, this really doesn't want to work very easily. So what I'm doing here at the point of this star, I'm kind of doing 3 curved lines that are curving. I was going to say curving in the same direction, but they're not, are they? I'm having fun here today. Doesn't matter. I had intended to make it a bit like a windmill where they go around in the same direction, but they're not going to at the moment, but I think that'll be okay. So what can I do with these? I've got kind of a nice shape going on here. It's beginning to look a little bit on the oval side. So let's have a look if we can. Yeah, that'll be nice because I can connect that round to that flatter bit there. And I think I'll be able to do the same here eventually. Yeah, that'll work. And perhaps if I put the others on this side here. So I'm getting these kinds of areas here where I could certainly do something with. These other ones, I think, I'm going to split this into sections. This is going to be a really bad idea I've just worked out, as I'm going to try and do something that I haven't really thought my way through even slightly. And there we are, there's me saying just follow your instincts and see what happens. This one is definitely following my instincts and seeing what happens. There we go. So we've got these lines radiating out, and you can see they're not straight lines, they are bent. So we've got an interesting arrangement of these lines. I'm just going to go back and go over them just to make them a bit broader and a bit more visible. This could be a good lesson in, see, the best of us, or even when we're trying to do our best. I'm not going to say the best of us because I'm not the best of us, not by a long shot. We even make mistakes ourselves. This in here is looking awful. So I'm going to go back over this and I'm going to correct this in some way, because that is bugging me now, because it does look absolutely patchy and scrappy, and it's more the shape that I've created. It's not a pleasing shape there. So let me see if I can just get something that's a bit more star shape going, and I may be happier. You are allowed to change your mind and adapt things on the go, you know. I do it all the time. I just may never always show you this. We've got that. Still not brilliant, but I'll come back and do something with that. Okay, with these sections here, I do want to do something with them, but I'm not entirely sure what it is I'd like to do. Part of me wants to put some zigzag lines here to emphasize that these could be going in and out. That works actually. Or to give that illusion that these might not be flat but are folded, if that makes any kind of sense. I guess if I'm going to colour in alternate sections of this, I'd be doing jonquil, the zentangle pattern, or a variation of the braise, I think it is one. There's so many of them are similar. This is just, oops, that was an awkward line I just drew. That one can go down there. So we've got something there. It's looking quite spiderwebby. I quite like this. Now then, I started, right, yeah, so we're going to go up, down, up, down, up. And then I will go in here and just fill in those little bits there. And then go this way. And keep doing this, like so. That'll be all right. So that creates a really interesting kind of space like that. It looks like we've got things shooting out. Reminds me of, I think is it pulsars? There's a star and it seems to shoot energy out in two different directions, or light. I could be wrong about that, you know, because I'm not sure whether it's art I've seen rather than the actual thing, but either way, it looks really nice. So I've got this here, which I've got a bit of a thicker bit at the top there, so I'm just going to go over that. So in this section, I think I'm just going to fill this in with spirals again. I think this one is my least favourite of the three. I think if I'd stuck with the star instead of trying to create something that looked like a trio of ivy leaves, three-lobed leaves. Leaves? I don't know what leaves are, but I think they're leaves with 3 lobes on them. Like ivy leaves. Although some ivies have got 5. I'm sure there's some that have got more. I may have stuck with something a bit better, but, you know, finish it, you see what happens, because you never know. I might come back to it and think, oh, I like that. Or, oh, I know what I can do to improve that now. Or, right, this is for the sketchbook to say, Angela, don't even think of doing this again. Or with suggestions for how I could improve this, should I ever do this again. You know, I've got basically 3 designs that I'm going to be happy with once I finish the one with the heart on. And so one I'm not happy with is, well, I'm okay with that, to be honest. Chalk it up to experience and learning. Getting overconfident, perhaps. Or trying to do something a little bit different, which just didn't work. And that's okay. I say that because I could pop this away, forget about it for a while, come back to it and go, actually, that's not so bad. Or, no, still don't like it. Got to remember not to try to do something like that again. So there we go. Oh, let me just move that down a bit. I guess it's not so bad. I mean, it's very glittery and shiny and, you know, pretty as it were. But compared to, say, this one, if I give me a moment just to lift my camera up so we can put them all together, hopefully. You know, compared to this one with the holly on, let me just throw some light up from over here, or my original star one, or the heart that isn't quite finished, it's definitely not the best. I don't know which one I like the most. I like this one because that's me all over spirals and stars. The holly's quite nice. The heart is going to be nice. That one is my least favourite. So you just have to let me know. But say the papers are about, I think they're 3 3/4 inches square. I'm not sure. Oh, I can work what that out is in centimetres because I've got this here. So they're about 9.5 centimetres square. But basically a square tile. I cut them this size simply because I got the most use out of the paper. I don't like wasting little paper. If I can get as many squares or pieces out, I'm going to cut paper down then. Brilliant. Just I've used Jelly Roll Starlight Stardust pens, as well as Sakura Gold pen, and I'm quite happy with how they've worked out. This one, though, this one, not so. Just see if I can pop them all in so we can get a nice picture at the end, or picture-ish. And I'll say thank you for joining me. I hope you give some of these a go and just see where your creativity takes you. And give yourself permission to play with glitter pens, sparkles. But you don't have to. You could do this with any pen or any paper, any colours you wish. So until I see you again, take care, look after yourselves, and find time to be creative. Ta for now. Bye. Bye all.